My boy Chris.
How's the wind blows if you're in high school?
Oh shoot, I need a minute.
Mason.
Oh, as the wind blows, no
Sky cam.
Blue on. Any blue? Couple more.
As the wind blows, if you're related to someone here.
Related to someone here.
Hey, brother. You forgot that you were related to.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, that's yours. You sure? When did she check you?
And your wife's never really saying.
How about
As the wind blows.
if you love Jesus?
Come in, move. All right, last one, Allie. Make it a good one, but they all got to do something. All got to move. If you're wearing shoes. Josiah. All right. This is cool. This is cool. All right. We got about 5 more minutes, but I want to play a game of Fruit Basket real quick too, because you guys seem to like that one too. So, you got you. Oh, there's got to be one somewhere. There. We could for a little extra blood on the ground. You want? We'll do it after this one. Scott says to make it more fun, eliminate one chair. So now what do we do? Now we do it. He just stands there? Okay, so go down over there. We'll give it a shot. All right, Jeffrey. Fruit basket! Everyone's got to find a chair. Chris, you got to find a chair, man! So Scott didn't think it through all the way, because we got to bring the chair back. Bring the chair back. So bring the chair back, and Sarah, you'll be in the middle. So bring that chair back right there for Jorellos. Let me see Jorellos. All right, go ahead, Sarah. Pick up the piece, Sarah. Come on.
Fruit basket.
Fruit basket. Come on, Tyler. Pick it up, man.
Apples, oranges, and pineapples.
Apples, oranges, pineapples. You didn't get it right. That girl's tired.
Trying to get it open?
It's making noise over here.
What do you say? Bananas! Banana! Tim's down, Tim's out. Okay, who's in? Who's in the middle?
First one to sit down.
Oh, look at Tim.
Apples.
Apples! All the apples! Miss Tom's like so cool about it, just wandering around.
Fruit basket.
I like how the coolest thing is watching handicapped and Tom. They just walk. They don't even run. Just walk. We got time for a few more. Go ahead. Apple banana. Fruit basket. You got good, Cody. All right. Last one. Fruit basket, she says. One more. Nice. All right, good job. Hey, let me pray for you guys. Do you go to your small groups? You're going to come back in a half hour. Let me just pray for you right now. Go ahead and turn this off for me real quick. That music down there. All right, Father, I thank you for my friends tonight being able to have a little bit of fun before we get a little more serious. And so, Father, I pray that their small group time is productive and they get something out of it tonight. And we all choose to grow closer to you. In Jesus' name, amen. close. You guys a little bit. Purposely try to swim the other way. Sports that kid. Yeah, okay, good. I want you to, and like the last slide will tell them exactly what to, here's what I want you to YouTube, go so they get your phones out, maybe not everybody kind of gather around each other a little bit, but on the screen, you got to get rid of that. This is what you're going to type in the YouTube bar, this right here. You're going to type in that right there. It's the second video, it's about a 42-second video of a lady, and I want you to watch it.
People going the wrong way on
Once
the
you get it going, then go ahead and
escalator.
watch it. You don't need to talk about it, just watch it. It's the second video with the lady. Yeah.
You guys gotta be watching the video.
It's
You
about
guys
a 42-second clip.
Don't worry about me.
Hello.
You guys gotta be watching the video. Watch the video.
Whatever he said. No, that one. No, that one. That one.
I should get some hash, I think.
You're trying, man.
Some other reactions.
Not gonna work. Almost did it. Those were your fault.
Alright. When you're done watching it, put your phones back away so I know you're done watching that. Question. Can you give me a legitimate answer to two serious questions? If you can't, shut up. Don't answer. Don't answer. Because what I don't want to hear is sarcasm. And I don't want to hear the answer that you may want to give to get someone to laugh at your answer. I want to try to push you tonight to a certain level, but the only way that it can work is if you're willing to legitimately answer these questions. And so if you're not, just don't answer anything. It's really simple. The questions, and you might have gone over one of them earlier, but here's the first one. Do you want to grow closer to God? That's the question. I got one answer. Anna Catherine does. Good for you. And one out of 40. Good. Okay. If you want to grow closer to God, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you are too embarrassed to not raise your hand. You don't want anyone to look at you weird. Okay. That's the question. I would think that you sitting in this room, you have an inclination that maybe, yes, you want to grow closer to God. I can't imagine too many people who would say no to that question. Unless you're dead set against, God or Christianity. I would imagine, for the most part, people would want to grow closer to God. Don't you dare eat that chip. I'm going to come at you. I will jump over this table, push them away. The next question is this. Are you willing to sacrifice something in order to do it? We'll see. Yes, tonight I'm going to talk about two words. One, you talked about already. And I would pretty much bet everything that I have that everyone could give me a decent answer. Maybe wording may be different, but all with the same conclusion. If I were to ask you to define the word sacrifice, I bet you may have different words for it, but I bet the end result would pretty much sort of be the same when it comes to the word sacrifice. So tell me, in your small groups, if you followed the guide, what were some of your definitions of the word sacrifice? Yes, sir. Louder. To give up something that would cost you. Okay.
Give up something that's important to you.
Give up something that's important to you. Otherwise, it's not really a sacrifice. So, giving up something that I don't really care about is not really a sacrifice. Right? I agree with that. Okay. Like if I decided, you know what, I'm going to give up peanut M&Ms. I'm just going to go eat plain M&Ms then. It's not really a sacrifice. They both are delicious. Anybody else? High schoolers. Did you talk about that word?
We said
Same thing. Okay. Same thing. Good. So you would agree then, though. You would agree then that they may have different wording, but the end result is pretty much the same when it comes to defining the word sacrifice. The second word we're going to look at, and we're not going You're not ready for this word yet. The word fasting. You're not there yet. We will get there. You can't get to the word fasting without understanding sacrifice. And you cannot fast without sacrifice. So it's important that we understand the word sacrifice before we can even begin to tackle what fasting is. Understand? Sort of? Good. You will. Right?
Yes, sir.
And he lives in like this giant land, and he thinks it's real.
It's a set.
It's a set. And everyone that he interacts with his entire life are actors and actresses who are paid to be there. Even his wife. And as the movie goes, he starts to figure it out. Then he realizes that it's all been, an illusion. And there's nothing to do at all with the Bible, but it's just one of those movies that if I had a problem falling asleep, I could put in the Truman Show in 5 minutes I'd be done. Because I'm so used to it, I just fall asleep. I do the same thing now with Infinity War. Because now it's on Netflix, and I've watched it like 20 times. But let me ask you, have you ever fast forwarded through a movie because you're so used to it to get to like a certain part? You want to watch a certain part of it, so you fast forward through to it. Yeah? I do that to Infinity War. I get to the fight scene at the end because I'm tired of all the dialogue. I know what they're going to say. So you've done that to movies before then. Good. Have you ever done that when it comes to a story in the Bible that you've heard so many times, you're so familiar with, that you kind of just start to gloss over it even when it's being told? And maybe it's a story of Jonah that you've been told since you were little. Maybe it's Moses, the Red Sea. Maybe it's Noah. Maybe it's Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. Can you relate to that at all? You've heard a Bible story so many times that now it's like, even when you hear it, okay, well, I've heard this before. Even when you're reading it, you kind of just glance over it because you think you know everything there is. Have you ever seen a movie again and then realized you missed something? Yes?
Yeah, because you're looking for something else. You're looking for something else to be
You're looking
there.
for something else.
Sometimes it's like, okay, this is my favorite part. I'm really going to pay attention.
Yes, exactly. One of the best examples of this, which is just, I don't know if you watch it or not, so old now, is a movie called The Sixth Sense. Okay? The whole movie was like a premise to like something at the end. Or, we talked about in your phone about these things called Easter eggs in movies. They're big in movies nowadays, where you'll be watching it, but then the actor or the director will like put something over here that you didn't even notice, but it'll like tie things together. The same thing is with the Bible. God puts stuff in here that can mean something to you now, and you'll get so used to it that you'll read it a year later and think, oh my gosh, I didn't even see that. When did that show up in Scripture? So I want to talk to you tonight, really quick. Talking about sacrifice. And I don't know if you understand this, but let me ask you the question again. You answered this question, yes. You answered this question louder than you answered the first one. Are you willing to sacrifice something in order to grow closer to God? And so a lot of you said yes, but then it comes down to what are you willing to sacrifice? You see, if I had to sacrifice something in order to get closer to God, I would want to sacrifice something that was on my heart, something I was passionate about. Something that I would suffer in my mind if I couldn't do it. For instance, let's just say hypothetically, and we're going to get to fasting, but then we'll talk about sacrifice. Let's just say